So I'm learning a ton of lessons myself, but I'm just imagining when we have a community of people who are all trying to do this thing and all of the lessons that we can collectively learn. And I think that's been a vision for me and Steven for a while, and everything that we do moving forward is that we want people alongside us. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for clicking on another video from us here at WingMan University. My name is Nate, and today we are going to continue on the topic of talking about preparing for 2020. And I had something happen to me this week that I just thought was a perfect visual aid for the way that I'm preparing for 2020 and the way that I want to help you guys and make more content for this channel. And we're creating small groups and all these ideas that we have and how they're kind of coming together. Like I said, last week I kind of had something happen and I was like, oh, this is a perfect visual aid. I want to make a video on this. And so that's what I'm doing here today. And so to do that, I have to give you a little bit of context of what's going on. And so last week was Thanksgiving. I was down in Florida. Hopefully you guys saw that video that me and Steven made together while we were together talking about this topic of preparing for 2020. And after that, I came back up here to Atlanta, and my mom actually came with me just to hang out for a week, see where I'm living. I've only been here a couple of months, so she hasn't seen this area, hasn't spent too much time in Atlanta herself. So we just got to enjoy a week together, exploring the city, going to new places, going to new restaurants, all that fun stuff that you do when your parents come into town. And one of the things that we did was, I live in Stone Mountain, which is known for having a mountain that you can go climb up. It's not too crazy, but it is a good hike. It's probably like a 30-minute hike to go up. And that was something that I did with my mom. And hiking up Stone Mountain is a lot of fun. It's something I've done quite a bit, as I live just a couple of miles down the road from it now. And it's a nice way for me to get some exercise in while also getting a great view of downtown Atlanta, which is pretty cool to see up high. While everything else is pretty flat around here, this mountain kind of sticks out as a sore thumb. But back to the reason this story is important. As we were hiking up it, my mom's hip was hurting her a little bit, and so I was just trying to find the smoothest path for her to go up. We've hiked it quite a bit, like I said, and so I kind of knew the places where there wouldn't be like giant steps that she would have to go up, or just a more gradual incline, or places that because she was focused on like just moving forward, I was able to guide her like, oh, okay, actually if we go off the trail here a little bit and go to the right, it'll just be completely flat ground that will be easier to hike up rather than like these giant hills where you have to really make a pretty big step up. And as I was doing that, I was actually getting some satisfaction of like being able to properly guide my mom up this mountain that we were hiking. And on the way back down, actually, I had this thought cross my mind of like, that is exactly what I'm trying to do with the teaching content that we're putting out here on YouTube and on Facebook and all these different places, all the groups that we're at and some of the events that we're going to go to this year. That's really my goal for 2020, is to feel like, okay, I don't know everything. I'm by no means like a hiking master or, a real outdoorsman or anything like that. But I know my mountain. I know the way to hike up it and down, at least in a way that would help my mom the most, because again, she didn't want like these steep inclines. Like she kind of knew what she needed in order to get all the way up this mountain. And I felt like I could provide that to her, right? A little bit of guidance. I wasn't like walking for her. I wasn't telling her what best shoes to wear. I wasn't like, trying to overcome her with, here's all this information you need to know. I was simply just guiding her up the mountain. It was something that I enjoyed doing because, again, I had that information and I had used it for myself many a time. As sometimes I go up the mountain, I'm feeling a little bit lazy or tired from the day, and I'm just like, let me go up this way, the easiest way possible. And so I was able to use this information that I know personally to help someone, up the mountain. But that's kind of the idea. Hopefully you guys see what the connection I'm making here between how that event is going to kind of guide me the way that I'm going to be teaching this year. And so I'm not going to be trying to do everything as we have done in the past, where it's like, here's where you're going to start and here's where you completely scale this thing to the moon. But specifically, and I think Shopify is a good way for me to, it's more in the style of, I can teach you what I know, but I don't know everything about Shopify, right? So it's hard for me to like put out a course of like, here's the Shopify course, here's everything you're ever going to possibly need to know to have a successful Shopify print-on-demand business, because that's not the position I'm in yet, and I don't know if I'll ever be in that position, but I still do have very valuable information that I want to share with you guys, and I think that it can help you kind of go along the same path that I've been, at least. And so teaching in that style, I think, allows me to do two things. One, it allows me to be a little bit more candid with you guys as far as like merch by Amazon goes, and kind of the older ways that, not the older ways, but the ways that we've been doing print on demand. We feel like we have a really good grasp on that system, and we know how to teach on a lot of things, and we've run into a lot of those walls. But specifically talking about Shopify, this is not the only thing it applies to, but specifically talking about Shopify, it would allow me to show you guys kind of in real time of like the mistakes and the things that I'm currently going through, right? We've done 3 or 4 Shopify stores at this point, and I'm in the process of writing up like full case studies on what happened with each of those jobs, just because I personally have learned so much, so I want to remember that stuff. But I also think they're extremely valuable lessons for you guys to learn about, and to have me share my, my thoughts on it, kind of looking back at the problem. And so that first thing of like kind of getting to learn together and show you guys what's happening in the moment as I'm doing it is exciting. But also the second part, which I'm very excited about, is I feel like we can build a community then of people who want to learn Shopify and the business model that we're using it for, which is print on demand, and we can all move forward together, right? So I'm learning a ton of lessons myself, but I'm just imagining when we have a community of people who are all trying to do this thing, and all of the lessons that we can collectively learn. And I think that's been a vision for me and Steven for a while, and everything that we do moving forward is that we want people alongside us. We don't just want to be looking back and helping you guys of like, oh yeah, I remember when we went through that, here's the solution that we found, but more also, the second thing that I mentioned of like, you guys are right alongside of us and you're doing something that's kind of in the same lane, but you're having a different problem, and it's not something that we've come up across before, so we can like kind of brainstorm how to solve it together. And so whether that affects your business or my business or this other person's business, we can all keep moving forward and just get more knowledge of this space. As there are some people doing print on demand shops on Shopify for sure, but we think we have a unique twist, and so we want to tell you guys what that twist is and how we're running this thing and how we're providing services, and this grandiose idea that me and Steven have dreamt up, and actually seeing some things come to fruition as we've been working the last several months on Shopify, and really still doing what Steven talks about, earning and learning the way that we've deal structured some of these deals and clients that we're working with. But again, specifically for Shopify, I feel like we're just in a great space to allow some people to see what's going on kind of behind the curtains, and also hopefully that encourages those of you guys to actually go out there and use this information and start finding clients for yourself, and then we can all start learning and moving forward together. So I know that was a lot of Shopify talk. We're going to be talking about Mastermind. I think we even talked about on the Monday show. There'll be a link in the description below if you guys want to talk more about Shopify and join us on that journey. We're setting up calls just to talk to you, just kind of like the 20-minute calls, but they'll be specifically about Shopify, so we can see where you're at, what your interests are, and if you can join this community and help us along the way to just increase our knowledge of Shopify and expect specifically how we're trying to use it. But I just really loved this like visual aid of me helping my mom up this mountain and showing her the path that I know that would be easiest for her because of her current situation. And so that's a way that we want to do a lot of teaching. So it's not so much that we're way out in front of you. I'm not on top of the mountain shouting down at my mom like trying to tell her where to go. I'm right alongside her, again, like WingMan. All these shirts on my shirt currently say like we're WingMan. We're right there alongside of you. We're showing you like where we went, where we think the easiest route up the mountain is, things to avoid, even though we're not going straight up as you would think like that's the easiest way. There's actually if you weave around and kind of go where there's not as high of steps. And I hope you guys see what I'm doing with this visual aid, and just saying that I think we've learned some valuable lessons in the last couple of weeks, even the last couple of days really, and we want to share this stuff with a group who would get value out of it. We don't think it's for everybody. We don't want to turn our whole YouTube channel into just talking about Shopify, as there's a lot of stuff that we're interested in and a lot of value that we think we can bring you guys. But if you are interested in Shopify and print on demand, then we want to provide those groups for you. Again, you can sign up to talk with us one-on-one or two-on-one. It'd be both me and Steven in those calls to see if this will be a right fit for you. Hopefully this style of teaching, where it's not so much like buy this course, but it's kind of join us on this journey inside of a mastermind or whatever we end up calling it, is good. And we hope that we can bring some of that content as well to the mastermind groups that we'll be into, but also to this YouTube pages and our Facebook group and other places that we're doing free content, so you guys can kind of see what's going on as we're doing it. That's the very exciting part for me, as I'm really looking forward to showing off all of the stuff that I did the last year that we didn't do too much content and like talk about because videos, a lot of it is exploring and seeing if things are going to work, and seeing when things fail, how we can, take the failed parts and move forward with that. And we just need to find a better way to communicate that stuff with you guys. So if you are interested in hearing more about like the current process and things that we're going on, please let me know in the comments. If you're interested in Shopify or deal structuring or partnering, or even licensing, as that's something else that we're doing, let us know which one of those things are exciting to you and which one you want to learn more about, because that will help us, again, guide the content for this channel. If you guys are only interested in partnering, or if we're hearing that overwhelmingly, then we have a lot of deals that we've done in the past that me and Steven can just sit down and talk about. You remember when we did this deal with this person and what that partnership looked like and how we structured it and all of those things. So we just want to know what direction to go in, but I'm excited about this new idea of just letting you guys in a little bit more and seeing what's going on behind the curtains and what we're currently working on as we move into 2020. And I think this is a little bit to avoid some burnout of just talking about the same things over and over, but also to build the WingMan University as more of a community, and so we can all be working on things that impact each other, and the information will actually help where we're at currently. Because again, we are your wingman, and our slogan is we want to help you exactly where you're at. So as we try to do that, let us know down in the comments how we can best help you, and we're excited to see you guys in 2020. But until then, if you could leave us a like on this video, that helps out a lot. Subscribe to the channel because there's so much more coming next year. But we'll see you guys on Thursday.